Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is uh, a very specific kind of information extraction.
Mhm.
We are diving into a set of sources, an astrological forecast, and this detailed narrative they call a StoryScope.
Yeah, from Tarot by High C.
And it's all focused on the energy of January 13th and 14th, 2026.
Right, and for anyone who doesn't know, a storyscope is, well, it's essentially the source translating planetary energy into a recognizable human drama.
So they give us a character.
Exactly, a character named Jonah who sort of lives out the week's challenges. And our goal isn't cosmic prediction.
Yeah.
It's about pulling out the practical psychological blueprint.
For adapting to change and, I guess, navigating conflict.
That's it.
Absolutely. The sources lay out this brilliant framework for when tension and healing collide, when our own systems start to glitch.
Internally and externally.
Right. And at the heart of it all is this one powerful idea we're going to be testing today.
Which is?
Direction matters more than definition. We're looking for movement, not
Yeah.
some perfect fixed endpoint.
Precisely. And we're tracking how Jonah deals with two core challenges. First, what happens when your script, your comfortable daily routine just stops working?
And the second?
When old conflicts, old hurts come bubbling up to the surface, how do you respond without immediately, defaulting to that defensive crouch? Jonah's story is our guide.
Okay, let's unpack this. The morning theme seems to be all about adapting to surprises, disruptions.
Yes. The source specifically warns to expect minor chaos. Look for surprises in your plans, your tech, even your own mood.
And they're not just annoyances, right? They're calls to action.
They are. And Jonah's morning is this perfect, almost comically frustrating series of small derailments. He wakes up and his phone...
The device that knows his face better than he does.
Right. It suddenly rejects him. The source says it decided he was a stranger. It's this tiny betrayal by technology.
I think that detail is so key. It's not a huge crisis, but it's the buildup, the friction.
It is. After the phone, he goes to the kitchen, puts the kettle on.
Expecting that satisfying boil.
And instead, it just clicks off. Lukewarm water. Another failed script.
And then the outside world joins in. There's a siren that starts up and then just stops.
Like a sentence interrupted, is how the source puts it. All these tiny unfinished things are mirroring what's going on inside him, pushing him off his track.
And this is where the real wisdom kicks in. The sources are very blunt here. They say, do not cling to the old script.
Mm-hmm. The idea is that these little disruptions, they actually show you where your comfort has turned into a kind of captivity.
We all have those routines, things that started as comfort, but now they're just ways to avoid, well, certain thoughts or feelings.
It's the psychological muscle memory of avoidance. And Jonah gets a real chance to break it at the cafe.
He walks there, and his routine is already shot. His usual barista is gone.
Someone new is there, and he's standing there ready to just recite his standard order.
Yeah.
And the source says it feels heavy, pre-written.
Okay, but hang on. I want to push back on this a little bit because what he does next is say, surprise me.
He does.
But isn't he just defining a new plan? The plan is now get an unknown outcome. Is he really surrendering control or just changing how he defines it?
That's a really sharp observation. I think what the source highlights is the intent behind it. He's not trying to orchestrate chaos.
Okay.
He's consciously choosing novelty over habit. It's a rehearsal for flexibility. The old script was a guard against uncertainty. This choice is him lowering that guard, even for a moment.
It's curiosity over defense.
Exactly.
And the drink he gets is, well, it's a perfect symbol of that.
Yeah.
It's described as bitter at first, but then it has this unexpected sweetness.
He allowed an outcome he hadn't, pre-approved. And it's a very low-stakes way to practice embracing an unpleasant surprise that might turn out okay.
That's it. That's the takeaway from the morning. Flexibility keeps us sane. Curiosity keeps us empowered.
And you see him start to look at the world differently. He notices other people adjusting to their own small derailments, a cyclist rerouting, a couple arguing, then laughing.
A balloon just floating free. He doesn't even finish the drink.
No, he just leaves it and lets his feet choose the path. He's physically moving away from the script now.
Which sets the stage for the afternoon.
That's the transition. He stops fighting the interruption, which allows for this big perspective shift. The afternoon is all about releasing control, about stopping, as the source says, holding so tightly.
And this is where we need to slow down.
Yeah.
Because the jump from, physical flexibility to this big emotional revelation is so important.
It is. Jonah starts to realize His routine wasn't just comfort. It had become this kind of emotional captivity.
It wasn't just about which streets he walked down.
No, it was avoiding certain conversations, certain memories, anything that might bruise old wounds.
And the source ties this realization to a physical place.
It does. His walk takes him to a park bench, and this bench is a metaphor for his unresolved grief. You can still see the faint outline where a memorial plaque used to be.
So the memory of the pain, it's still etched there,
Yeah.
but the fixed definition of it, the plaque is gone.
It's an invitation to rewrite it. And in that quiet space, he finally allows his perspective to widen. The source describes it as loosening his grip on a rope he had been hauling for years.
Just imagine the strain of that constant low-level effort. It really hammers on the cost of avoiding things.
It does, and he asks himself the big question, what was he holding so tightly?
What was the definition he was clinging to?
And the answer just surfaces. His sister's name.
Ah, so that's the wound.
That's the core of it. The argument they never finished. The source says they both had drawn lines in anger and then guarded them like borders.
Trapping themselves. This is that collision of tension and healing we talked about at the start.
And right as he has this realization, the universe responds.
The phone.
The very same phone that rejected him that morning buzzes, and it's a message from his sister, "Are you free later?"
Wow. So the test just went from theoretical to very, very real.
It's not just about flexibility anymore. It's about his resolve not to just recoil. Which brings us to the evening focus, and the source gets very technical here. It names the pressure point. Mars square Chiron.
Okay, let's define that, because that technical detail is really key to understanding Jonah's challenge. What does the square part mean here?
So a square isn't a harmonious aspect. It's friction. It's a test where two energies are pushing against each other, creating tension.
And the energies are Mars and Chiron.
Right. Mars, which is all about action, assertion, anger, defense, pressing right up against Chiron, which represents our deepest, most tender wounds, the places we feel vulnerable.
So the risk is that Mars will just default to its lowest expression.
Exactly. That the friction will cause this impulsive, defensive, frustrated reaction just to protect that tender spot.
And that's Jonah's internal battle. The message comes in, and his first instinct is just pure defense. That familiar heat, that urge to reply sharply.
To strike first. The old psychological script he just spent the day trying to break is suddenly roaring back to life.
It's the ultimate test.
It is. But because of the practice, the small bit of flexibility at the cafe, the curiosity in the park, he's able to consciously choose the other path.
The path of firm kindness, starting with himself.
Yes, he doesn't lash out. He just replies with this intentionally neutral text. I am. What's up?
And the meeting itself, the setting is just loaded. Their childhood home.
Empty now, echoing. You can just feel the history in the air, all the things left unsaid. The defensiveness is practically radiating off both of them.
So this is where it shifts from just an internal realization to an actual applied strategy. They know they can't fix everything in one night.
But they can control the direction. They can set new rules of engagement.
His sister starts it.
She does. She says that critical line, "I'm not here to fight," and Jonah matches her. Neither am I.
And they're drawing a line, but it's a different kind of line.
That's a profound distinction, and we should linger on that.
So what is the difference between that old defensive line they guarded for years and this new boundary they're setting now?
The old lines were reactive. They were designed to keep the other person out, to protect the ego. They were walls.
A form of self-captivation, like the source said.
Yes. This new boundary, "I'm not here to fight," is proactive. It's an agreement designed to keep the conversation safe. It creates a space for vulnerability.
They're defining the rules of the road, not the destination.
Exactly. And that makes their final interactions so much more powerful. They're talking, they're circling the old hurts, and they get close to the edge. The words start to sharpen.
But Mara's energy is trying to take over.
And she stops it. Mid-sentence, she says, "Let's not cross that line." And you can hear the effort in her voice.
And Jonah, because he's been rehearsing flexibility all day, he can meet her there.
He says firmly, "Agreed."
So they didn't fix everything. The relationship isn't suddenly defined as healed.
No. The power was entirely in the commitment. They showed up, they stayed, they honored the new rules.
They learned where to bend on their expectation of a quick fix and where to stand firm on their commitment to not hurt each other again.
Exactly.
This whole deep dive really seems to confirm that idea. The success wasn't in defining the future, but in committing to the direction of healing.
It's a journey, right? You start the day resisting a coffee maker, And you end it by showing up for this huge emotional confrontation, all by practicing the same principle.
Don't cling to the old, heavy script.
And if you synthesize the wisdom here, it really comes down to two tools Jonah used. First, flexibility. Just saying, surprise me in a low-stakes moment.
And curiosity.
And curiosity, asking, what am I holding so tightly when that conflict arises? These are universal tools.
He walked home with no grand resolution, only a quiet sense of direction.
And the source material argues that's enough. That's the win.
Which raises an important question for you, the listener.
If success is just about showing up and agreeing on boundaries, just staying on the path, then think about this.
What single line are you guarding right now out of anger or defense? That heavy protective script.
And what would it look like to transform that line into a mutual boundary for a more constructive engagement?
Something to ponder as you navigate your own unexpected moments.
We'll see you next time.
For the deep dive.